The Dutch town of Zutphen in the east of the Netherlands was liberated from the German occupiers on the 6th of April 1945. It took great effort to take the town with many house-by-house combats. In the living room of a house on the Rijksstraatweg in Weinsveld, the Canadian Bren Group has set up an observation post with a view of Zutphen. A first lieutenant is kneeling in front of the window. Through the window we look out on Weinsveld and Zutphen in the distance. From the observation post, the narrow road towards Zutphen can be seen. The trees are not yet in leaf. Brightly burning buildings of the ironware factory Racing. The water tower on the Weinsveldse Weg. Remains of an anti-tank wall at the blown-up bridge over the river Berkel, seen from the Graaf Ottoweg. 3 members of the air defense service pass by. Brabantse stoottroepen are seen here talking to a boy. Civilians cut a cow killed during the shelling into pieces, after which the meat is divided. A Bren carrier and a motorcyclist cross the Polsbeek. Vehicles leave the low-lying terrain and climb up to the Slootstraat. Flamethrower tanks drive through the Varkensweg. A Chevrolet 15 CWT truck with tents rolled up. Infantrymen come from the Varkensweg and enter the Hekerenlaan via the Slootstraat. A Canadian Churchill tank with a trailer in the Slootstraat, followed by Sherman tanks. Sherman tanks on the Deventerstraatweg. The roadsides are scanned by snappers with mine detectors for possible mines. An infantryman eats from a mess tin in a foxhole along the road. Kitchen staff fill mugs with tea. A radio operator and his helper carry their equipment on their backs. Soldiers eating and drinking tea. An officer has tucked a military map under his belt. Blown-up bridge in the Deventerstraatweg. Behind it the house of the mayor. A Sherman tank is standing still on the Deventerstraatweg. Infantrymen advance through the low water and along the banks covered by snipers. Heavily packed infantrymen cross the river at running pace. One falls but gets up and reaches the other side. An officer observes this through his binoculars. A universal carrier with anti-tank gun is set up in the narrow front yard of a corner house. A rubber boat with nurses crosses a canal. A stretcher crew awaits while the nurses step ashore. Engineers throw chunks of rubble into the moat near the destroyed bridge. Citizens with white flags pass with an injured person on a stretcher. At the liberated hospital on the Koelhoornsingel, the national flag hangs on the facade. A motorcyclist and a Bren carrier, assisted by engineers, cross the canal via the provisionally repaired bridge. Another drives through the shallow water. An army truck throws debris into the water at the crossing. A jeep and a 15 CWT drive through the water. Another CWT gets stuck and is helped up the slope. The tower of the Walburgiskerk seen from the Lange Hofstraat. The Beukerstraat with Bren carriers and members of the Binnenlandse strijdkrachten. A so-called Moffenmeid who collaborated with the Germans is shaved bald under great interest. Close-up of the haircut with a cheering crowd watching. Her long hair is cut with scissors and clippers. The crew of a Bren carrier speaks with residents. Canadian soldiers in the midst of Zutphen residents. The tower of the St. Wallisburgkerk is badly damaged on one side. Citizens and the liberators at the stairs of the Wijnhuistoren. The new town. The smoking remains of the Easy Door barracks, blown up by the Germans, are extinguished by the fire brigade. A Canadian sergeant shakes a girl's hand. Smoking ruins of houses near the barracks. Fountain on the border of the Houtmarkt and Zaadmarkt. The Houtmarkt with the Wijnhuistoren. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. There are many more episodes in this series about the liberation of the Netherlands in 1945.